This lesson covers a topic that I get asked very often. And the question is classical guitar easy to learn? So this is a complex question, but let me just quickly give you a quick summary. Yes, under the right conditions and the right context and the right intentions of the student, then yes, classical guitar is definitely easy to learn. However, no, under the wrong conditions, the wrong context, and the wrong intentions of the student. Let me explain a little bit more though. So under the perfect conditions, we're going to be looking at a student who's going to study with a teacher, who's going to have great method books and materials, and will have a great frame of mind or context of what they're doing, including playing the correct repertoire that's appropriate for them. Under the wrong circumstances, maybe a student doesn't have a teacher or doesn't have any help at all. They have a method book that isn't necessarily for classical guitar, and they're trying to play the masterworks during the first year of study. It's unrealistic, it's unhealthy, and full of frustration. So no, that would not be easy. Another point to consider as well is having a proper instrument, having a proper classical guitar with nylon strings, having a footstool or a guitar support of some kind, right? So that you can sit in the proper position, and that's part of having the right materials, the right method books and the right teachers, having a proper instrument. It doesn't have to be an expensive instrument, but a proper instrument, and a footstool. All of those things will contribute to the learning process in a very positive way, making it much easier for you if you're enjoying it. Let me dive in a little bit more now into the details of how it could be easy to learn classical guitar. If you have a good teacher, at a minimum, an online portal or something like that, but in person, a teacher is going to set you up with the right positions before you learn any bad habits. They're going to set you up with your weekly practice material to make sure that you're practicing the things that are the priorities that you need to learn, because each student is unique. They need that advice. They're going to solve problems before they begin, and they're going to assign you material that's appropriate to your level so that when you're practicing at home, you don't get frustrated, and therefore learning is easy. Materials and method books, having the right method books for your level and things that teach you skills for the long term rather than short term. If you watch a video online, it says learn classical guitar in 2 weeks. Obviously, that's unrealistic. You want realistic method books that are going to prepare you for the future repertoire that you'll encounter. Also, having materials, so repertoire that's appropriate to your level, is incredibly important. Now, in terms of the context and frame of mind of the student, if the student can learn to enjoy practicing and the learning process on the classical guitar, they will enjoy it, and therefore learning classical guitar will be enjoyable and therefore kind of somewhat easy. It's not that they won't come up against challenges, but if they're enjoying those challenges and working through the process of overcoming them, then music is easy. It just takes a little bit of time, but you'll be enjoying yourself and having a great hobby, and or preparing yourself for the future. So that kind of context about enjoying the process is very important. Also, the biggest thing is playing the correct repertoire. So in my beginner method book, for example, some of the open strings are just some of the very first pieces that students play are just open string pieces, and I expect my beginner students to be good guitarists and good musicians when they're playing those pieces. So I expect them to be holding their hand properly and sitting properly, producing a nice sound, to have good rhythm. And then they're good guitarists and they're good musicians. They just happen to be playing repertoire that is not very challenging from a technical perspective. But that's okay. They're being good guitarists and good musicians, and they're doing it. They're playing music. So it's easy. It's easy to be a good guitarist. It's easy to be a good musician. but you just happen to have to play repertoire that's at your level. Probably the biggest downfall of many students is they want to dive into learning, Lagrima or something after their first 2 weeks of studying, because they go out and they find the tablature and they watch some videos and they're like, I can do this, I can do it. But they really haven't prepared themselves, and then just a world of frustration opens up. So the student's frame of mind and context is so important. Now, in order to play classical guitar at a very high level, or like if you see someone play a very famous piece and they play it very, very well and they sound very, very beautiful, if you want to sound like that, yes, you're going to have patience. Classical guitar is complex, and to be a well-rounded classical guitarist, you have to learn quite a bit of skills. It's not quite as focused as, for example, if you just want to learn how to be a chord strummer on guitar. There is complicated chord strumming, and that is difficult to do too at a high level. But if that's the only thing you want to do, then you can probably streamline the process a little bit in order to get yourself there quicker. Classical music, there's so many different textures, from arpeggios to melody playing, that there's a lot of skills to learn. And sometimes we combine all those things together, melody and arpeggios. And so, yeah, it's going to take a little bit longer. You have a lot more skills to learn. But again, if you're enjoying the process and you're playing repertoire that's appropriate to you, it can be an easy process. It's just going to take more time. But that's fine. I mean, what are you doing it for if not to be involved in the process of learning it and learning it properly? So I think that's really important. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to play you a nice, easy piece. Now, it's not that easy, but it's not very difficult. This is a piece that is attainable for every student. So I would put this piece at around the grade 2 level. If we have grade 1 to 10 and beyond, way beyond, then this is at grade 2. And I would say every student can reach the grade 2 level eventually. There's no reason, there's nothing awkward about the grade 2 level that would inhibit even people with quite severe arthritis or some other ailment. Most students can get to the grade 2 level. So what we need to do is find pieces that some students may want to play Lagrima, and they really want to, but what I would encourage them to do is find a piece of repertoire that you really love and you think is really beautiful and really amazing, but it just happens to be at your level, and aim for that. So a wonderful piece of music that just happens to be at your level, coincidentally at your level. So for example, this piece, Robin Reddock, comes from the ballet Lute Book. This is a piece originally for lute from the 16th century. Very nice little authentic historical piece. This comes from my collection of easy classical guitar pieces, volume 1 and 2. So here's an example of a really nice little piece, very straightforward and easy, grade 1 or 2 level, and very authentic little piece, originally for lute. So So finding really beautiful repertoire that's authentic and really interesting and very melodic and pretty, if you can play that really well, you can continue to progress continuously. But if you aim for a repertoire that's more at that level, then attaining that goal will be fairly easy. I mean, it'll still take time to make it sound beautiful and whatnot, but it's very attainable. And then you can play that type of music as you progress further towards maybe other pieces that you wish to play. But you can hold off on those pieces and enjoy yourself in the meantime playing wonderful music that just happens to be at your level. So yes, learning classical guitar is easy in the right context.